Hello students, how are you all? This is the third lecture of chapter number 2 of class 9 science, that is matter around us pure? In the last lecture we have learnt about the concentration of the solution. In the last lecture we have learnt about the concentration of the solution, that whether the solution is concentrated or dilute. We have learnt about the two words dilute and concentrated. If in any solution, if there is a solute in higher quantity, it doesn't mean that it is higher than the solvent, but if it is in higher quantity, then it is known as concentrated solution, but if it is in lesser quantity, then it is known as dilute solution. Clear? But we have also learned that the type of the solution is always dependent upon the solute. What is solution? Solution means solute plus solvent forms the solution, the mixing of solute and solvent. What is solute? The spelling is smaller. It means if the concentration of any compound is less, then it is known as solution. If any compound having higher concentration, then it is known as solvent, because the spelling is bigger. So in such a way we can remember that solute means the compound having the lesser concentration, solvent means the compound having higher concentration. Concentration can be also known as amount. The substance having is less in amount is known as solute, and the substance which is higher in amount is known as solvent. But the solution is always, or type of the, or the properties of the solution is always dependent upon solute. So accordingly we can distinguish three different types of solutions. We can distinguish three different types of solution. The first one is true solution, another one is colloid, and the third one is suspension. Clear? According to the properties of solute, according to the properties of solute, or the properties of solution, that can be said, we have three different types of solution. One is known as true solution, second one is known as colloid, and the third one is known as suspension. How? These can be divided into few properties according to the few characteristics, according to the size of the solid particles, according to the type of solution, according to the dispersion of light. Let us see that how can we define, or how can we differentiate the solution into the three subgroups, that is true solution, colloids, and the suspension. If we see the solution according to the size of the particles, if we see the solutions according to the size of the particles, if the solute particles size is less than 1 nanometer, what do we mean by 1 nanometer, and how much is 1 nanometer? Clear? How much is 1 nanometer? Then we have discussed that our hair, human hair, the width of the human hair is equals to the 50,000 nanometer. Width of the human hair, not the length. The width of the human hair is equals to 50,000 nanometer. But the size of the solute in the true solution is equals to 1 nanometer. Clear? Opposite to that, suspension, they are bigger than 100 nanometer. They are bigger than 100 nanometer. Now what about the colloids? What about the colloids? They are in between 1, these are the colloidal particles, and 100. Clear? They are bigger than the 1 but smaller than the 100 nanometer, from 1 nanometer to 100 nanometer. Clear? These particles are too small. These particles are too small that they cannot be seen by naked eye. They cannot be seen by naked eye. Clear? Here they are big enough to be seen. Clear? They are big enough to be seen by naked eye. Now first of all we will compare true solution and the suspension, then we will go through the colloids. First of all we will compare true solution and suspension. Clear? That will be easier to remember the properties of true solution and suspension. See, there will be totally opposite properties of the true solution and suspension. Here it is 1 nanometer, it is more than 100 nanometer. They cannot be seen by, they can be seen by naked eye. They are too small to be seen by naked eye, but the suspension particles are big enough to be seen by naked eye. Now type. True solutions are homogeneous. True solutions are homogeneous mixture. They are homogeneous mixture. Suspensions are obviously opposite to that, heterogeneous. Very good. They are heterogeneous mixture. They are the homogeneous mixture. Suspensions are the heterogeneous mixture. What do we mean by homogeneous and heterogeneous? In homogeneous, the solute and solvent, that is the two components, are well mixed. They have thoroughly the same composition from top to bottom. In any of the mixture, they have the same composition. It means the amount of solute and solvent is always fixed. Either you see from the top or from the bottom or from the middle or on the sides, they have the same composition. Clear? Now heterogeneous means they do not have the same composition. For example, my t-shirt, here it is quite black, it is totally black, but if I see here, then it is black as well as blue. If I see here, it is blue, black as well as yellow. It means it do not have uniform composition. If it is here black, then all the way it should be black, then it is known as homogeneous. It is not a homogeneous, it is heterogeneous mixtures of colors. Why? Because thoroughly it is not black, so it is known as heterogeneous. If I am wearing a totally black t-shirt, then it is known as homogeneous. Clear? Now see, this is homogeneous and this is heterogeneous. Now the third property, dispersion. What do we mean by dispersion? See, for example, this chalk piece. If I am throwing a chalk piece at you, then what will happen? You will move far away or the chalk piece will go in the another direction. Obviously it will hit you, but it cannot throw you far away. Obviously after hitting you at the chalk piece will move in the another direction. Yes or no? Now see, I am picking up a huge table and throwing at you. Now what will happen? Obviously when the table will hit, you will get thrown away. If I am removing the board and hitting you with the board, then what happens? Then when the board hits you, you will get thrown away. Why? Because these are the smaller particles. This is a smaller particles, where the board is a bigger particle. The same thing happens when light strikes us. Light wave from the sun, coming from the sun, when the light waves strike any particles, the same thing happens. If the particles are small, then the particles move away and the light goes on in the straight direction. If the particles are small, then what happens? Then the light goes in the same direction and the particles move away. But if the particles are too big, when any light strikes that particles, then the light gets dispersed. It means it spreads in all the direction. That is known as dispersion. Getting it or not? That is a dispersion of light. Here the particles are too small to be scattered. That is also known as scattering of light. More proper word for, instead of dispersion, that will be scattering of light. So these particles are too small, they cannot scatter a light. What do we mean by scattering of light? It means spreading of light in different directions. When any light strikes any particle, then it may scatter depending upon the size of particle. If the particles are too small, they cannot scatter a light. Clear? They will move away, the light will go in the same direction. But if the particles are big enough, then light will scatter, light will spread in different directions. Clear? So this in true solution, particles cannot scatter a beam of light. Beam of light means there will not be only a single light wave. There will be a group of light waves. And the group of light wave is known as beam of light. Clear? So they cannot scatter a beam of light. They can scatter a beam of light. You have seen the scattering of beam of light. For example, in the rainy season, at the night time. For example, the rain is coming. At the night time, for example, rain is coming and you are in your vehicle. Either you are on the bike or either you are on the car. Either you are on the bike or either you are in the car. When we start this car light at the headlight of the car or headlight of the bike, then what we see that the light is going in a specific direction. Clear? We see the particles of the light scattering, the particles of the rain, particles of the water scattering the light. We see that the specific path of the light, hence the path of light is visible. The path of light is visible in the rainy season when rain is coming and when we start the headlight. such path of light is not visible on the routine day when the rain is not coming. Getting it or not? When in the rainy season at the night time when we start the headlight of a car or a bike, if it is raining, then we can see the path of light. Why we can see? Because that particles are scattering a beam of light. During the routine day we cannot see a path of light. The same thing happens in the summer season. Totally we have packed our room. Totally all doors, all windows are closed. Now there is a small hole in the window. Through which the light is entering. Sunlight is entering. Then we can see the path of light. We can see the total path of light. We can also see the dust particles moving in that light beam. That is known as scattering. That effect is known as Tyndall effect. So we can say here its dispersion, or more probably it can be known as scattering. It is also known as scattering. Scattering is a better word instead of dispersion. So we can say that it shows these are the too small. Which particles are big enough? These particles are big enough, so they will scatter and it will show Tyndall effect. It do not show Tyndall effect. What do we mean by Tyndall effect? During the summer season, when there is a small hole on the window, light is entering, then we can see the path of light. We can see that the dust particles moving in that light. That effect is known as Tyndall effect. Why? The particles are big enough, dust particles are big enough to scatter a beam of light. The gas particles are not visible, the gaseous particles are not visible. Why? Because they are too small to scatter a beam of light. Here suspension particles are big enough to scatter a beam of light. So it shows Tyndall effect. Here they do not show Tyndall effect. So it is a quite important question. There will be always asked, what do we mean by Tyndall effect? Then you should know the scattering of a beam of light by the bigger particles of the solution is known as Tyndall effect, by which the path of light is visible, by which the scattering of a beam of light due to which the path of light is visible is known as Tyndall effect. Now appearance, how they are visible, how we can see. In true solution it is always most of the times transparent. Why it is transparent? Can you anyone say that? Because they are too small to be seen by naked eye. So in a solution, if you are not able to see the particles, then obviously it will be transparent. Clear? It will be transparent. And here it is opaque. Clear? Here it is opaque, so we cannot see. It will be a blurred. Why? Because in solid, if the solid particles, the big enough to be seen by naked eye, rotating in the solution, moving in the solution, then we cannot see through the solution. So the solution will be opaque. Separation. If the solid and solution solvent are mixed, then it is formed the solution. Either it is a true solution or it is a suspension solution. Either it is a true solution or either it is a suspension solution. If I want to separate the particles, then how can I separate the particles? True solution, particles are too small to be separated. They cannot be easily separated. They cannot be separated by any chemical physical method. Cannot be separated by physical method. They cannot be separated by any physical method. In suspension, they are big enough. For example, what is the example of the suspension? Sand and water. Just filter it out. How you can separate sand particles and water particles? By filtering it. So can be easily separated, can be easily separated by filtration, can be easily separated by filtration. Clear? Stability. Stability. What is the example of true solution? Salt solution. Salt and water is example of a true solution. The particles will not be able to seen by naked eye. They will be homogeneous, thoroughly the same composition. Now what happens if we left undisturbed, if we keep that solution undisturbed, then the salt particles will not settle at the bottom. It will not get accumulated at the bottom of a vessel. It will not happen in the salt. But what happens when the sand is added into the water? If we keep undisturbed for 2 to 3 hours or 4 hours one day, then all the sand particles will accumulate at the bottom of the solution. So here it is stable, here it is not stable. So true solutions are stable. Here suspensions are not stable. Clear? Getting it? What do we mean by true solution and suspension? These are the properties of the true solution and suspension. First of all, true solution is a homogeneous mixture. It is a heterogeneous mixture. It is a homogeneous, thoroughly the same composition. Thoroughly the same composition is not seen in suspension. So it is known as heterogeneous. The particles, the solid particles are too small to be seen by naked eye. Their size is less than 1 nanometer. Here the particles are big enough to be seen by naked eye. So their size is more than 100 nanometers. They are easily visible. They are easily visible. So they are too small, they are big enough. They are too small, so they cannot scatter a beam of light. So it will not show Tyndall effect. The path of light is not visible. When we pass the light from a true solution, the path of light is not visible. Why? It do not show Tyndall effect. Why? Because the solute particles are too small to scatter a beam of light. Here the particles are big enough, so they can easily scatter a beam of light. So the path of light is visible, and so it shows Tyndall effect. The particles are too small, cannot be seen, so the solution will be transparent. They are big enough, easily can be seen, so they will be opaque. It will be opaque. We cannot see through the sand and water solution. Why? Because it is a suspension. The particles are big enough, so it will not be transparent. When we add salt into the water, it will form the transparent solution. Clear? Separation. How we can separate salt and water? We cannot separate it by filtration. We have a different methods, but we cannot separate it by simple filtration. So any physical method won't help here for separating salt and water. But here simple filtration method can be used. Simple filtration method can be used to separate solute and solvent particles. Now stability. As it is a homogeneous mixture, they are too small, so they are quite stable. Here the suspension solutions are not stable because of the size of the particles. Now see, true solution and suspensions are totally opposite to each other. They are totally opposite to each other. Now colloids have the mixed properties of the true solution and suspension. Colloids have a mixed properties of the true solution and the suspension. First property, see, here it is less than 1 nanometer, here it is more than 100 nanometers. So here its size is more than 1, greater than 1, but less than 100 nanometer. Getting it or not? Here it is less than 1 nanometer, here it is more than 100 nanometer. So the size of colloidal particles, it is a colloidal solution or also known as colloids, can be from 1 nanometer to 100 nanometer. So there will be a mixed properties of the true solution and suspension. Clear? See, it is known as colloids, also known as colloidal solution, and also known as sols. Clear? If you see sol or sols, then it means colloids, not the solution. If we see sols, then do not get confused. It is the name of the colloids. Clear? Now, homogeneous, heterogeneous. So we cannot say homoheterogeneous. It is always seen. So practically finding, it is heterogeneous. It is heterogeneous. Clear? It is a heterogeneous mixture. The particles are too small. In colloids, particles cannot be seen by naked eye. The particles cannot be seen by naked eye because the size of 100 nanometer is not able to be visualized by our eye. Our eye cannot see the size of the particles having 100 nanometer, means less than 100 nanometer. Clear? So the particles are not be seen by naked eye. It means it is a property similar to true solution, but are big enough to scatter a beam of light. Clear? See, remember here, particles are too small to be seen by a naked eye, but are big enough to scatter a beam, BEAM, beam of light. Hence it shows Tyndall effect. Clear? See, mixed property. The particles are too small, they cannot be seen by naked eye, but are big enough to be scatter a beam of light. Hence the path of light is visible. Hence path of light will also be visible, and it will show Tyndall effect. Clear? Too small to be seen by naked eye, but when you pass on the light, the path of light is visible. For example, our air particles. See, here I cannot see the dust particles. I cannot see the dust particles moving in the air. But as and when during the summer season there is a small light hole in the window and light is passing, then we can see the path of light and that particles. Clear? So that is colloids. That smoke present in the atmosphere, that is colloid. Dust particles roaming in the atmosphere also forms colloids. Getting it? Directly it is not visible. But when path of light is passing on, then it can scatter a beam of light. So they are too small to be seen by naked eye, but are also big enough to scatter a beam of light. So it will always show Tyndall effect. Clear? Now, appearance. They are transparent. Here it is opaque. Here it is neither transparent nor opaque. Can be both. Can be both. It can be either transparent or opaque. Clear? It can be transparent as well as opaque. Now separation. Clear? It doesn't mean it can be easily separated by filtration, because the particles are smaller than the suspension. Cannot be separated by filtration. And it also doesn't mean that it cannot be also separated. It has a mixed property of true solution as well as suspension. It means it cannot be separated by filtration. It cannot be separated by filtration, but can be separated by centrifugation. Centrifugation is a process. Centrifugation is the process by which we can separate colloidal particles. It cannot be separated by the filtration. It means that is not so easy, but it can be separated by using the another process known as centrifugation. What is the centrifugation? You know how the cream is separated from the milk? In the dairies, how we can separate cream and milk from each other? How we can separate the cream particles from the milk? That process is known as centrifugation. Clear? For example, during the blood test, any chemist takes the blood sample from our body, and then after sometimes after a day or after few minutes or after few hours, they can say that in your blood there is this much amount of hemoglobin, this much amount of platelets, this much amount of white blood cells, this much amount of red blood cells. How? So how can they separate these components of the blood? That is also by centrifugation process. And how centrifugation process works? The centrifugation process works that you need to take a sample. and that there is a centrifuging machine. There is a specialized machine in which when you add the sample, then it rotates the sample at a very high speed. Now the sample is rotated at very high speed, then after few times, after few hours or after few seconds or after few days, then they are exactly separated. The different types of particles are separated from each other. Different types of particles having different mass, different sizes are automatically separated. How this works? Then you can say that, for example, there are three students from our class. For example, the first one is Aryan. Clear? The second one is Aman. And the third one is, suppose, Raj. The weight of the Aryan is 45 kg. The weight of Aman is 65 kg. The weight of Raj is 35 kg. Clear? So there are three students, Aryan, Aman and Raj. Clear? Now see properly, understand the example how centrifugation works. There are three students, Aryan, Aman and Raj. Clear? After eating very well, feeling energetic, I am pushing each and every student with the same amount of force. I am pushing the Aryan with the same force, I am pushing the Aman with the same force, I am pushing the Raj with the same force. Do all the three students experience the same effect? Do all the students have the same effect of force applied by me? Very good. No, they don't have a same effect. If I am pushing the Raj which is 35 kg, then what happens? Then if I am pushing, then it moves towards the wall. It moves towards to the wall. It means it has a highest effect. Now what happens to the Aryan? Aryan will also move forward, but it will be behind the Raj. Raj will be at the front, at the top speed. Raj will move at the top speed. Aryan will be at the back of the Raj, because it is a heavy particle, it cannot move that much further. Now Aman, what happens to the Aman? It happens that I am not able to throw the Aman, as well as I am not able to push the Aman, or if I am pushing the Aman, then it will be only 2 to 3 feet only. Clear? So now if I have applied the equal amount of force in all the three particles, then the particles having the smallest weight, having the less mass, will be at the front. The heavy particles will be the back side of it, and the heaviest particle will be at the last of the line. Clear? So this process is known as centrifugation. So when we rotate the particles at very high speed, then the particles having the lowest mass and the particle having the highest mass and the particles having different mass get automatically separated. First they were on the same line, all the three were on the same line, but after pushing it, Raj is at the front. Then after few meters back there is Aryan, and again few meters back there will be Aman. So now the particles are separated when equal amount of force is applied on the particles having different mass or different densities. Clear? So that is centrifugation, and by such process we can separate the colloidal particles. They cannot be easily separated by filtration, but we need to separate it by centrifugation. Centrifugation can also be seen in the houses during the winnowing. Clear? If our dadi or mother, someone is cleaning wheat or cleaning rice, then supra. Clear? So what happens then? When they are moving at a constant speed, the bigger particles get separated and the smaller particles get separated. That is also centrifugation. That is also a type of centrifugation. So such way the particles can be separated. Now they are stable, they are not at all stable, but the colloidal particles are quite stable. They do not get easily settled down. They are not as stable as true solution, and they are not unstable as suspension. They are somewhat stable, so they are quite stable. They are quite stable. Clear? So they are not as stable as true solution, they are not unstable as suspension, they are quite stable. So there is a true solution, there is totally opposite to it, suspension, and there is a mixed property containing colloids or colloidal solution. Clear? Write it down one time in your classwork and three times in your homework notebook. It is one of the most important table to be asked in the exams. Clear? So remember it. 110% I will ask this in the questions. Clear? Either the whole solution, whole table will be asked in the exam, or 1 to 2, 3, 4 questions can be asked of 1 mark, 2 mark, 3 mark, any of the exams. So be prepared. There will 110% questions from this table. Now you don't have to write 1 nanometer. You have to write the full sentence. You should not write this homogeneous 1 nanometer. You have to write the full sentence. The solid particles in the true solutions is size of less than 1 nanometer. It is a homogeneous mixture, not only homogeneous. You have to write the whole sentence. It is a homogeneous mixture. Here in the scattering, the particles are too small, so they cannot scatter a beam of light. So the path of light is not visible. So it do not show Tyndall effect. The particles are big enough to scatter a beam of light. So the path of light is visible and they show Tyndall effect. So the question can not only be asked that which of the following solutions shows Tyndall effect. It can also be asked that which of the following solution, in which of the following solution the path of light is not visible. But you have only remembered Tyndall effect, so you will not be able to write the correct answer. So there should also be written in the detail form. The whole sentence, whole explanation should be written in the point. For example, I have written here, in colloids the particles are too small to be seen by naked eye, but are big enough to scatter a beam of light. So the path of light is visible and it shows Tyndall effect. So in each and every point the sentence and statement should be written in a perfect manner. Clear? So write it down 1 time in your classwork and 3 times in your homework notebook and prepare well. Thank you very much, beta.